Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to another mini seminar on behalf of Spiritualism New Zealand. My name is Kim Chamberlain. Today we have with us Jan Burke, who is based in Christchurch and who is a spiritual educator. Welcome, Jan. And I just have to say that I first met Jan over 20 years ago in Wellington, and there was a spiritual expo on, and she gave a talk about angels, and she said, I run spiritual development groups. So I was there like a shot, and that was introduction to spiritual development groups. And I remember so much about what you taught us, Jan. And I still have the materials and I still have the books, and it was just a really, really good introduction to spirituality. So it's great to be with you. You're now 20 odd years on.
Yes. It's nice to have that feedback, actually.
Of course, you don't often get feedback, do you?
No.
So Jan's topic today is the four spiritual gifts. So we'll start off with a question. What do you mean by the four spiritual gifts, and what actually are they?
Good question. Okay, so I'm gonna just talk about these as types of perception. As a general topic, the four spiritual gifts, but they're actually types of perception. How we perceive life and how our first impression about life, about everything, right? And there are four. And as I go through them, I'll just reiterate that we do have all four. So whatever is first, how we get our first impression. So the types of perception are prophecy, vision, intuition, and like I said, we have all four. But we do have our own particular order. So the first one that I like to talk about is prophecy. So the prophetic type, or the prophetic way of looking at life, you just know. Don't know how you know, you just know. Okay.
Yeah.
And we all have that prophetic part. But those people that have prophecy first in their order, they're constantly 100% tuned into the future. They need to be creative because they often become outstanding executives, right? Because they're really tuned into the future. They're the entrepreneurs in our society, okay? So your own prophetic part is your entrepreneurship, if that's a word. So with each of these types of perception, there's imbalance and there's out of balance. So when the prophetic type is imbalanced, they're on target, they know what they're doing, and they see things through to a successful completion. When they get out of balance, though, they can be very controlling, okay, and moody. So often, though, they spread themselves too thin. But the trick is to recognize when we're out of balance, because we all get out of balance at times. So of the prophetic type, I would say that they have a healthy, balanced orientation to life, and outstanding executive. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sounds perfect.
Another type is the visionary type. Now, the visionary type, the way it goes, see things. And they must have a clear picture. So I'm a visionary. I need to see things before I can understand it. So it's like a little movie going on in my mind's eye here. But having a clear picture is actually really important. Visionaries like to look good. Okay, I changed my outfit about 3 times before we came on the And they're very organized, and like things to look good, when I go out for my morning walk, I can tell the visionary gardens, they're so neat and
Oh, wow.
tidy. When they're out of balance, they like things to be perfect. Don't touch that, or put it out of place, or have they have a fixed picture, put it that way, right? So from their photographic mind, they have a fixed picture and don't want to change. But the balanced visionary is very organized and can understand from a clear picture exactly what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Does it make sense there?
Yes, very much.
Another type is the intuitive type. Now, this type is a born leader. They're very direct and honest. They don't mess about with details. They just tell it the way it is, right? Just give me the facts here.
Yeah.
So they have a clear understanding for the facts of a situation. And that's what makes them a born leader, because they're very direct and honest and get things done.
Mm-hmm.
Out of balance, though, they can be impatient with less organized minds. They can be a bit of a tyrant to work for. The out of balance intuitive boss is not an easy person to work with. But in saying that, they are good at business.
Mm-hmm.
But does that make sense there?
Yes. Yeah.
And then we have the feeling type. Now, the feeling type goes through life by how it feels. It has to feel good. They're very sensitive to their environment and to other people. Often pick up the thoughts and feelings of other people because they're so sensitive. So they are very patient and caring, natural healers. And they often base their decisions on gut feelings. That's like, this is what I feel, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, the thought part of it doesn't actually come in, which can work and sometimes it can't.
Yes.
When they're out of balance, they might play dumb or get into the manipulation game or poor little me, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they're powerhouses of energy. They're good workers. They like things to be done, kind of thing. And they like the details. They like all the information they can get. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. You kind of recognize yourself and not yourself, don't you?
For sure, for sure. Like I said in the beginning, we have all four. We have all four of those. And whatever our order is how we perceive life. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, as a visionary, I need to have a clear picture. And then my second is prophecy. Then I'll just know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have feeling third, and then I get my motivation to put my plan into action. And then I have intuition fourth, so that my outflow is very direct and honest. So I'm straight to the point. Okay. So yeah, it's fascinating, really, because as a teacher, I'm teaching all these students who are all different types at the same time. But because I understood all of this, the prophetic types, halfway through the class, they know it all. So they start staring out the window or doodling.
Yeah.
Visionaries, I need to put something on the whiteboard now and again, so that the visionaries suddenly got something to look at.
Yes.
The intuitives, just give them the facts. Do this, do that. The feelers, give them something to do. They like to be creative with their hands. and give them all the information.
Hmm.
So it's interesting when you're working directly with these four types in a classroom situation, how it can be so helpful.
Yes. Yes.
Even in the family, you know.
Yeah.
Because I have three daughters, two, one is visionary, one is a feeler, and one is prophetic. My youngest daughter is a prophetic. Well, when they were young and had to, I was still at work and they had to get the bus into town, they'd go home from school, and if the bus was on time, my youngest daughter wasn't in a hurry. You know, she was fine. But if the bus was early, she'd be saying, "Come on, hurry up," to her two older sisters, because she just
Yes.
knew the bus was early, so they would obey and they would go. So
Wow.
very interesting.
Wow. You probably see life quite differently when you have this understanding.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So translating this into everyday life, how does that work then?
Well, for me, I've learned to say to people, look, don't just tell me, show me.
Mm. Hmm.
I need to see it. Right? And
Yes.
I'm totally fine with doing that and saying that. My husband is a feeler, so in order to get him into action, I have to give him the feeling for it, so that when I want something to be done, I have to tune into his feeling part, and then he's
Right.
off like a rocket.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's just understanding, and it
Yes.
helps us, I feel, to let go of the judgment of so and so's too perfect for me. Well, that person might be an out of balance visionary, and
Right.
feel a little bit of sympathy or a little bit of understanding about, when someone is not feeling their best, or,
Mm.
and just support them. Mm.
Mm. Mm. So we only have a few minutes, unfortunately. So any more practical tips for everyday life of how we can use this?
Oh, practical. Well, my very strong suggestion would be to find out what your gift order is, but
Okay.
because it can change your world. It can open up so much more understanding for people. How that, rather than get into judging,
Mm.
get into understanding.
Hmm.
And if someone is an out of balance prophetic, just to say, well, how can I help you? How can I help you know a little bit more clearly? I don't know. It's just,
Mm.
it would come. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And how do people find this out?
Well, I do a private session.
Yes.
There are two choices. One is, and I'll just hold it up here. One is the actual gift order itself.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And on the back is a little description of each one. And the other part of it could be that a fuller expansion of that is the gifts and guidance profile. Yes, you have your gift order
Yes.
and your spiritual energy, how you're doing it, but also, let me see that there, how many guides or angels you're working with this lifetime and how to communicate with them. That's an extension. Whatever would fit for people, I'm available.
And this is available online?
Yes, it is. Yep.
You work online. So if people want to contact you, what's the best way to do that?
Well, they can either by phone, obviously, or text message or email. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So I will put all those details below the video then.
That'd be
Yes.
great. Well, thank you. Thank you
That's
for the opportunity.
that's all right. I have one last question.
Yeah.
Once you've found this out, your
Yes.
particular order, does
Mhm.
it change through your lifetime?
No, it doesn't. No, that's a good question. No, this lifetime I'm a visionary.
Yes.
I could have been a different one. I'm sure I was in a different lifetime, but no, the order stays the same
Right.
for
Okay.
this lifetime. Yeah.
For this lifetime. Yes, that's good to know.
Mm.
Oh, John, there's so much more I want to ask you, but unfortunately, it's a mini seminar.
Yes.
So if people want to find out more, I've got all your details below. And thank you so much, Jan. I mean, already I know so much more after a few minutes.
Yeah.
And it's really useful, not just for yourself, but for every person that you meet in life, really.
It's been a totally amazing experience just to open up so many people this lifetime. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jan. And thank you for the work you do as well.
Thank you.
Still going on after 20 years of seeing you.
Yes. Nice to meet you again, even though it's not in person, but hey.
Thanks, Jan.
You're welcome. Bye.